What's the most iconic COD sniper of all time in your mind? Is it the Intervention? Is it the Ballista? The Locust? The sniping community, it's huge in this franchise, and they always have some strong opinions about what sniper is actually the best. But what about those snipers that nobody used? What about the snipers that got lost in time? Well, not today, my friends. Today we're bringing them back. We are going to go over the 20 COD snipers that you probably forgot about. You let me know in the comments which of these you actually remember. Drop a like on the video, and remember, I read every single comment on every single video. You already know that. Let's go. At number 20, the SVU-AS in Black Ops 2. Now, when you think of Black Ops 2 snipers, you probably think of the Ballista. You think of the DSR. Heck, you probably think of the XPR-50. But there was a fourth sniper, a fourth musketeer in the game that absolutely nobody talks about because it was basically a marksman rifle with a sniper scope. It was the SVU. Semi-auto rifle, one-shot kill to the head, two-shot kill everywhere else. Low fire rate cap made it a little difficult to use unless you were really consistent with your headshots and you were actually good. Recoil, it was low, but it was still high enough to make follow-up shots just a little difficult if the target was moving quickly. And at the end of the day, the SVU was hard to justify taking into battle when every other sniper in the game could get one-shot kills to the chest. Now, there were some people who insisted it was underrated. Most people, they forgot about it. When people talk about snipers from Black Ops 2, they never talk about the SVU. Before we move on, guys, click the link at the top of the description. Go follow me on Spotify. All the Chaos Gaming and main channel Chaos videos are now being uploaded daily over there. If you do, give me a rating, give me a like, drop a follow, give me a comment over there. I would love to see you guys over there. At number 19, the Dragunov in Modern Warfare 3 2011. Everybody remembers the Dragunov because of how frequently it's been in Call of Duty and how frequently it's actually sucked. Seems like this gun comes back every year or two, and I'm pretty sure it's one of the most frequently remade guns in the franchise, up there with the M1911. But how many of you actually remember the Modern Warfare 3 version? Did you know it was in the game? The Dragunov was unlocked about halfway through your progression in classic Modern Warfare 3, and there really wasn't anything special about it, which is why you almost never see it online. Semi-auto, two-shot kill to the body, one-shot kill to the head, but it was also pretty bouncy. Had some hefty sway when aiming down the sights. If you wanted to use something like that in Modern Warfare 3, you would probably use the RSA, which was also a two-shot kill to the body and one-shot kill to the head, but it had way less recoil. The Drag didn't really have a solid place in the meta, and it led to being one of the most least popular guns in the game, despite how iconic the Dragunov is for whatever reason. Most COD players forget it was even in. At number 18 today, the Barrett 50 cal in Modern Warfare 3 2011. Yet another gun that people know, but they might have forgotten it was in the classic Modern Warfare 3. Actually, most everyone remembers that the Barrett was in the game. Most people forget it because nobody used it. The Barrett 50 cal was nerfed pretty hard from Modern Warfare 2 to Modern Warfare 3, so that 2011 version wasn't very good. Moved much slower. It was a much less consistent one-shot kill sniper. I didn't mean it was bad. The Modern Warfare 3 Barrett took a little more work to get good with than the Modern Warfare 2, and the Modern Warfare 3 Barrett was definitely overshadowed by other rifles. I mean, you had the MSR, the L118A, the RSA, which we just talked about. Nobody ever talks about this version of the Barrett, despite it being a starting weapon, despite the Barrett itself being an iconic Call of Duty sniper. I wanted to give it a little love today. It deserved more love than it got back in the Modern Warfare 3 days. At number 17, the M21 EBR in Modern Warfare 2 2009. Now, sniping in classic Modern Warfare 2 was huge. It was thanks to monsters like the Intervention and the Barrett 50 cal. But how many of you actually used the M21? This was one of the few snipers in classic Modern Warfare 2, and hardly anybody was actually using it because it didn't really feel like a proper sniper rifle. I mean, it was classified as one, but it felt more like a semi-auto or assault rifle with a scope on it. One-shot kills, they were kind of rare with this gun. If you wanted a semi-auto two-shot kill, you were just going to use the FAL, which you could even put a mid-range scope on it. The M21, it was not a bad weapon. It just didn't really have a proper place in a game like Modern Warfare 2. Some people liked it, but most people passed right over it for something a little better. At number 16, the Drakon in Black Ops 3. Now, this seemed to be the futuristic version of the Dragunov, but it was never all that popular compared to the other snipers in the game, like the Locust and the SVG-100. The only time you ever saw this online was if somebody was trying to cheese their way through the snipers-only playlist, and even then, it wasn't a dignified way to play. Honestly, the gun wasn't terrible. It was just kind of clunky compared to the others, and a clunky two-shot sniper rifle isn't going to be your go-to weapon for a lot of people in a game where jetpacks and wall running are prominent. Nobody really talked about it during the Black Ops 3 era, and hardly anybody thinks fondly on it. I mean, unless you're one of the people cheesing their way through the snipers-only playlist, but then again, we probably shouldn't take those people seriously, should we? At number 15, the VKS in Call of Duty Ghost. Does anybody actually know what the VKS stands for? I want you to tell me down in the comments what you think it should stand for, but it was never popular during the Ghost days, and it definitely didn't leave much of an impact on anyone after the Ghost era ended. Nobody missed it. Semi-auto sniper, built-in suppressor, kind of cool, but the fire rate was low and the one-shot kill range was inconsistent, so you were pretty regularly getting a hit marker and then not getting your follow-up shot because that target got away before you could get another shot off. Then again, the integrated suppressor, it did keep you off the radar while you were hunkering down somewhere, so I guess that was nice if that was your playstyle. I mean, I guess the VKS wasn't a bad weapon if you knew what you were doing, but you didn't see it online, and now it's just one of those guns that sometimes people will remember, but nobody ever brings it up. I mean, we remember it existed, but we never talk about it. At number 14, the WWII 2000 in Modern Warfare 2 2009. Yet another sniper in classic Modern Warfare 2 that nobody used. Big, bulky piece of wood with a scope on it, right? The WWII was a semi-automatic with a pretty low fire rate cap, but it didn't actually have a consistent one-shot kill range despite it being awkward to use. I mean, if you wanted a slow-firing one-shot kill sniper, it was the Intervention. If you wanted a semi-auto sniper that had really good power and follow-up shot potential, it was the Barrett. The WWII wasn't flat out bad. It just didn't have a purpose in this game. And since we're talking about it, let's back-to-back it. At number 13, the WWII 2000 in Black Ops. Now, the WWII actually appeared in back-to-back COD games. It was pretty forgotten in both. The Black Ops 1 version of the WWII 2000 was a bit more viable since it wasn't competing with monsters like the Intervention. Then again, sniping in general was kind of unpopular in the original Black Ops because of how clunky Treyarch decided to make the snipers in the game. They toned them down. They reportedly didn't want quickscoping to be a central part of the experience, which was dumb, so they deliberately made it a lot harder to sniper aggressively. You would have to sit back and use the sniper more traditionally, which that wasn't something the WWII 2000 excelled at. I mean, it was a memorable gun to look at because the model was so clunky, but nobody actually used it. At number 12, the PSG-1 in Black Ops, the original. The final sniper that you got your hands on in this game, super underrated. Semi-auto, super low fire rate cap, just like the WWII, but it had really good damage. It was virtually always a one-shot kill. The only way to not get an insta-kill with the PSG-1 was to hit somebody in the leg or arm. If you hit them in the meat at all, they were done for. And the ammo capacity and the follow-up shot potential was really good with this sniper rifle. I honestly don't know why the gun wasn't more popular because it seemed like whenever you saw a sniper rifle online in classic Black Ops, it was the L96A1. And to be fair, that was an iconic bolt-action rifle. But when you look at the raw stats, the PSG-1 was arguably the best sniper in the game, yet nobody used it. Maybe it was because it was a classified weapon, so not everybody was grinding for it. I mean, I don't know what the reason was, but it was underrated. I would say it's become largely forgotten by the Call of Duty community. At number 11, the RSA Interdiction in Black Ops 3. Now, it's funny to think back on this gun because when it was first revealed, people lost their minds about it. We all thought this was going to be the coolest sniper of all time. Then it got added to supply drops. Everybody was pissed off. It was underwhelming, underpowered. And then Treyarch never buffed it, and then everybody completely stopped talking about it. The RSA Interdiction was the only bolt-action sniper in Black Ops 3 that had aim assist, which you would think made it really good. But it was actually one of the worst guns in the game because the fire rate was slow and the damage was horrible. So while it was easier to make contact with enemies, it was actually harder to kill them. Hardly anybody actually pulled it from a supply drop, and nobody talks about it. Now, speaking of DLC snipers, at number 10, the D25S. What a name, so creative. In Modern Warfare Remastered. People were really pissed off about this sniper being added to the remaster, which is funny because nobody remembers it now. I didn't remember it. The D25S looked like an MSR from the classic Modern Warfare 3, but this one was actually a semi-auto two-shot sniper. In fact, it was statistically just a reskin of the M21, which wasn't a very popular sniper to begin with, and was actually included in the base game, so who would have thought? Nobody used it, even if they unlocked it, because it was literally just a different-looking version of a gun you already had. Some people actually felt the recoil on the M21 was lower than the D25, which meant this gun was literally pointless. I mean, I guess if you were going to add DLC guns to a remaster, the best course of action is to make them completely forgettable so they don't overshadow the base guns, right? But then people still bought them. At number 9, the R700 in Call of Duty 4. This might be a hot take, controversial pick, because most of you probably remember the R700 in COD 4, but did you use it? Did you actually pick it over the M40A3 or the Barrett? Be honest. I'm willing to bet even those of you who remember this as in the game do not have any explicit memories of using it. Compared to the M40 or the R700, it was heavier. Stronger a little bit, so the one-shot kill range was more forgiving, but the thing was, the M40A3 was the one-shot kill range beast. I mean, it was gigantic. There was no point in taking a heavier weapon for the sake of extending that one-shot kill range. I mean, there wasn't. The R700, perfectly strong, smooth. I mean, had a handful of handling drawbacks like the heavier idle sway and slower movement as well as a smaller ammo capacity. It just didn't give you anything substantial in return for those drawbacks. People remember it was in the game, but hardly anybody actually remembers using it. At number 8, the Axe 50 in Modern Warfare 2019. Now, this game didn't actually have that many sniper rifles, but when you think of them, you probably think of, what, the HDR, the Kar 98K, which is ironic because the Kar 98K wasn't even classified as a sniper, whatever. The AX-50 was pretty popular during the early days of Modern Warfare 2019's life cycle, but in the post-Warzone era, the only actual sniper that people remember was the HDR because it was prominent in Warzone, prominent enough to get it remade in Black Ops 6. The AX-50 was a tad quicker than the HDR, but not quick enough to justify taking over something like the Kar 98K, which was super quick if you wanted to be super aggressive with a bolt-action rifle. The AX, it had a following at the moment, but now you don't ever hear about it. At number 7, the SDM in Black Ops 4. What do you think it stands for? The only thing people will remember about the SDM is the iron sights, which were some of the most impressively bad ones in Call of Duty history for a sniper rifle. You couldn't freaking see anything through these irons, and the Treyarch somehow expected you to hit your target 2 to 3 times per gunfight. Yeah, okay. The SDM, hot garbage. I mean, so it's not a shock that nobody was using it. It's also not a shock that as soon as Black Ops 4's era ended, it was forgotten. It was yet another iteration of the Modern Warfare, or the M21 rifle, and there have been a million better versions. So when you think of the M21 type rifles in COD history, you think of 4 or 5 other examples before you ever think of the SDM. It was bad. Everybody forgot about it because they wanted to block it out of their memory. At number 6, the DMR-1 in Infinite Warfare. Futuristic M1 Garand. Even had the iconic ping when you reloaded it. Now, I don't really know why it was classified as a sniper rifle in the game, and frankly, I don't even know why it was in the game to begin with, because the actual M1 Garand is also in the game, so I'm not sure why you would pick the DMR-1 over it if you wanted to use an M1, but whatever. Functionally, it's what you would expect from a semi-auto rifle in COD. Killed with 2 shots to the body, 1 shot to the head, but everybody forgot it existed because it was trying to imitate the M1 Garand, while all along, you could just go use the actual M1 Garand if you wanted to. I don't understand the point. Now we arrive at the top 5, my friends. Everybody loves this. They light up in the comments whenever I talk about this gun. The Maverick A2 in Ghost. I'm pretty sure this was the first DLC sniper in COD history, so it's a little weird that nobody remembers it, but I do. And I just said you do. Some of you do. People remember the Maverick assault rifle, but the Maverick sniper rifle, not so much. Semi-auto sniper, built-in tracker scope, kind of cool, but the damage was low for a sniper, so hit markers galore was everywhere, pretty frequent, and the fire rate cap was only 400 rounds per minute, so you weren't always going to be able to get your follow-up shots. If you were good at picking people off with headshots, which I was not, the Maverick A2 was pretty solid, but it took a lot of getting used to, and since it was a DLC weapon that nobody really had access to, it ended up being largely forgotten by the COD community once the Ghost era ended. Even during the Ghost era, people didn't really talk about the sniper version. They definitely talked about the Maverick AR. At number 4, the SVO and Advanced Warfare. The new Dragunov, added to Advanced Warfare as DLC. I guess it was actually one of the better drags in COD history, if that's saying something. It's not saying a lot, because most of the drags in COD history have been complete dog water, but I guess it wasn't awful. Sniping was pretty hard in Advanced Warfare, so basically anybody using a sniper was of course using the Moors for that guaranteed one-shot kill. Any other sniper was going to have a hard time justifying its own existence, and the SVO, it did a good job at that. One-shot kill range, teeny tiny. Fire rate, pretty awkward. I mean, plus this was Advanced Warfare. If you didn't land the first shot, they were gone. They zoomed away, so it was added and completely forgotten within a couple weeks. At number 3, the WZ-35 in COD World War II. What do you think WZ stands for? I think this is the most boring name on the entire list today. Sledgehammer was adding DLC guns to COD World War II left and right. You get a gun, you get a gun, you get a gun. I can respect it, but sometimes those DLC weapons just kind of faded off into the background, which was the case with the WZ-35. Bolt-action sniper, added to the game with a random patch in June of 2019, a year and a half later after the game came out. Basically a reskin of the 3-line rifle, which was already a pretty unpopular sniper because of the slow ADS animation. I mean, also had heavy idle sway. Also had a weird scope reticle that sometimes made it hard to see what you were aiming at. Damage? Okay, almost always enough to kill with a single shot, but there were so many snipers in the game. The WZ needed to bring more to the table to stand out, and it didn't, especially since it was added in June of 2019 when the entire COD community was looking ahead to Modern Warfare. Nobody was paying attention to COD World War II, so obviously nobody was going to notice a reskin of a gun that was already in the game. And number 2, the Trek 50 in Infinite Warfare. This is basically IW's version of the Moors. Single shot sniper, huge one-shot kill range at the cost of obviously limited ammo capacity. So if the Moors was a fan favorite, why didn't anyone remember the spiritual successor? I tell you why. It was an Infinite Warfare sniper added as DLC several months after most people had stopped playing this game. Sniping was already pretty unpopular in Infinite Warfare because the sniping mechanics, they didn't jive with the movement and the map design. So when you add in a DLC sniper several months after the game comes out and you haven't fixed the sniping mechanics to make it more satisfying and the new sniper has drawbacks in the ammo department, nobody's going to talk about it. Visually, cool gun. Had some awesome sound effects and animations, but let's be real. Nobody remembers it. And at number 1, the most forgotten sniper rifle. Let me know if I got it. The M36 in COD World War II. Now, you know the WZ-35 was randomly added in June of 2019. Well, the M36 was added in July of 2019, meaning nobody noticed it. And much like the WZ, the M36 was basically a reskin of a sniper that was in the game. What are they doing? High-capacity bolt-action sniper. It was a reskin of the Lee Enfield, which was one of the snipers that launched with COD World War II back in 2017, 2 years prior. I mean, it even had the same reticle and the scope. So you tell me honestly in the comments, how many of you even knew this gun was in the game? A random reskin of the Lee Enfield added with a random patch in July of 2019, almost 2 years after the game came out, less than 3 months before Modern Warfare 2019 dropped. Don't lie, you didn't know this gun existed. All right, there you go. Let me know 2 snipers that I forgot to put on the forgotten list. Check me out on Spotify, and I'll see you guys soon.